Hey y'all, this is Travell Richardson, and this is the Be Ready anthem, y'all. I hope y'all ready. Stay ready, be ready, 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 stay ready. Every show, new face, new dream. Young man out here building their team from the track to the court to the turf and the rings. They all grown different, but they got the same theme. Putting in work when the lights not on. Late night, early morning, still going strong. They don't do it for the lights, they do it for the fight. Future looking bright, cause they training for their life. So be ready, stay ready, 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 be ready, stay ready. Spotlight on them, time to show love. Rather smart than dream, all star from above. The hustle in their heart, purpose in their feet, and they voice on this mic that echoes in the streets. Every episode, no cap, no fake. Just young bugs grinding, rising to the stage. Different faces, same goals. Rise above the pressure, yeah. Holding goals on. Be ready, stay ready, 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 be ready, stay ready. So put your hands together for my boys, Coach Tony and Carlos, for the Be Ready podcast coming on right now. Let's get it, let's go, y'all.
And we are now live. Welcome, guys, to episode 111 of the Be Ready Sports Podcast, y'all. Thank you guys for supporting 111 episodes. Here we are, episode 111. So before we start this show, guys, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon. We are here live on YouTube, so please make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you get notified of when we go live here on YouTube. And please also make sure to follow our Instagram. Should be scrolling the ticker right now at Be Ready Sports Podcast on Instagram. That's where we post sports news, podcast clips, anything related with the podcast will be on the Instagram. And then this is where we go live here on YouTube. So please make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon so that you get notified of when we go live. All right. With that being said, it's a Wednesday night, and let's kick off the week. We got a combat athlete here with us tonight, and let's introduce him on tonight. All right, let's introduce him on. Tonight's guest is an 11-year-old class of 2033 combat athlete from the state of Maine. He competes in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling. This athlete competes with Team Valhalla Jiu-Jitsu and Bigfoot Brawlers Wrestling. This athlete is a sponsored athlete with partners by ENZ Nutrition, Outlier DB, ORB Sports Mouth Guards, and Flow Space Mats. He is a driven young grappler and wrestler whose discipline, leadership, and passion for the sport inspire the creation of the nonprofit Grapple for Growth. So now, please welcome to the Be Ready Sports Podcast, R.J. Kendall, y'all.
Hi.
RJ, what's up, man? All right, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. So RJ, give a little icebreaker about yourself.
So I'm 11 years old. I'm in 5th grade, and I really like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling. And yeah.
Okay, RJ. Yeah, definitely Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We interview some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighters. We've interviewed some. Definitely unique sport. We don't do usually. We're mostly football, basketball, but we try and include Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because obviously that's a sport, and obviously our name, Be Ready Sports Podcast, is in the name sports. So obviously we try to involve all sports in there. So RJ, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. All right, so let's get started, shall we, with some sports topics, and let's get started with our tradition, what we do every episode. Well, and at least while I'm here, but when Coach Tony's here, he's been slacking. He hasn't been doing this. But when I'm here, we do this. So here is the ASN history, RJ. So basically all these events here occurred on this day, but in a different year. So for example, we have a list of things right there. So for example, number 1, starting off right away, the NBA, they suspend the season as Rudy Gobert tested positive for the coronavirus. Yes, the coronavirus obviously was around in 2020, guys. It's been 6 years ago since, NBA had to suspend the season indefinitely because Rudy Gobert had tested positive for the virus, and that just led to a whole chaos around the league, and basically the NBA just said, we're going to suspend the season and basically take this break to see what we will do, in the meantime, like how are we going to continue our season. And then obviously they ended up making it up with the bubble. They ended up playing in Wide World Sports in Orlando, and that's where the Lakers and the Heat played in the finals. And then the LA Lakers ended up winning the championship in Disney. So that was in 2020. 2024, the Eagles, they signed Saquon Barkley on this day. Saquon Barkley, a great running back who played for the New York Giants before, was signed by the Eagles, and he has looked great ever since. He's took his game to another level. In 2022, on this day, Joe Buck, very popular play-by-play commentator for Fox, he ended up leaving Fox on this day for ESPN, where he is now doing Monday Night Football with Troy Aikman and is the A1 squad, over at ESPN on Monday Night Football for the NFL. 2015, the Miami Dolphins, they signed Ndamukong Suh, who was a D lineman, very tough D lineman for the Miami Dolphins. He was a key player for that defense. He signed a 6-year, $114 million contract and $60 million guaranteed, RJ. Found it. That's a lot of money you're talking about. That's $60 million guaranteed. So that means they guarantee you $60 million. So RJ, how would you feel, you get a contract, right, for for your sport, right? And they give you $60 million guaranteed. How does that sound?
That sounds awesome, and I definitely highly consider accepting.
Oh yeah, you better. $60 million. Oh my goodness, that's oh my gosh, $60 million, 60. That's crazy. But yeah, he was 28 years old at the time. He was an elite defensive tackle. He played for the Detroit Lions before being signed by the Miami Dolphins. Also on this day in 2024, the Falcons signed Kirk Cousins from the Minnesota Vikings. Quarterback Kirk Cousins. I believe now, fast forward to 2026, I believe they released him from the Falcons. So I don't know if you guys want to fact check in the chat, but I believe that's what happened to Kirk Cousins. 2020, Jazz Thunder postponed under mysterious circumstances. So they said mysterious circumstances. This was actually the game, Jazz Thunder, they were about to tip off. But then it ended up being a huge delay. There were NBA officials, referees just huddling around, and basically they were just talking pretty much like is this game gonna happen? Are we gonna postpone it? What's going on pretty much? And then they ended up, both teams had to go back to the locker room, and the game ended up being postponed. And I don't think they played after that because, as you can see, that event goes back to the top where Rudy Gobert tested positive, and they ended up suspending the season in 2020. Cowboys, they released DeMarcus Ware. They released DeMarcus Ware. DeMarcus Ware, I believe he was a part of the defense. It doesn't say on here, but yeah. So the Cowboys, they released DeMarcus Ware on this day in 2014. The Browns, they waived Johnny Manziel, Heisman Trophy winner from Texas A&M. They ended up waiving him on this day at QB for the Browns. 2024, the Packers signed Josh Jacobs, running back. They signed running back Josh Jacobs, who is a very good running back, who was a part of the Raiders. Then for the Packers. 2013, Seahawks acquired Percy Harvin. He was a wide receiver from the Minnesota Vikings in exchange for a 2013 first-round pick, a 2013 seventh-round pick, and a 2014 mid-round pick. That was for Percy Harvin. Giants signed Carlos Rodon. He was a pitcher to a 2-year, $44 million contract. He was 29 years old when he signed this contract. And then last but not least, Giants acquire Florida State guy Brian Burns from the Carolina Panthers in 2024. So RJ, oh my gosh, that was a lot of events, and a lot of events on here, that I know, and the players on there that I kind of are familiar with. So that's pretty much the reason why it took longer than usual compared to other days. So RJ, so which event on there, sounds interested to you? Like sounds, pretty much interesting that stuck out to you.
The 2015 $60 million contract sounded interesting.
The Dolphins, they signed Sue. Yeah, $60 million guaranteed. That was crazy, and he deserved that money. He was a great player for the Dolphins. So and is that the only event you saw?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So guys, so this is this day in ASN history on March 11th. Yeah. So that's this day in ASN history. We'll do more of these. We will most likely do one on the next show. So yeah. So keep tuning into the show because we're gonna do this as well, ASN. And also, if you guys want to see this in real time when they first release it, you guys can follow them on their Instagram at ASN Throwback on Instagram. All right, so let's move forward, and now let's get into some UFC fighting. Since we're talking about, MMA, we got a combat athlete here, So we're going to talk about this huge card that was just announced. There were rumors about, UFC doing a fight card at the White House, and they were confirmed, and pretty much they just needed a card, and here it is. Here's the card right here. So here's the card right here, as you guys can see. The main event, Topuria and Gaethje. Topuria, he is 17-0-0 according to my research, and Justin G, 27-5-0, and they'll be fighting for the World Lightweight Championship as the main event at the White House lawn over there at the White House. This will be live on Paramount Plus, most likely pay-per-view, but this is a great event. You got Alex Pereira right there for the interim heavyweight championship as the co-main, and then after that you got O'Malley, who was a very well-known UFC fighter over there for the bantamweight bout, and then you got a very good card right there. So RJ, so what are your thoughts of having, a UFC event at the White House for, by the way, on the 250th year on, of America, pretty much. So how would it, how is it like, having a UFC event at the White House?
I think it's a really good idea, and I'm definitely going to tune in.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely want to tune in. Shout out to Mongo369. He brought a history lesson to us. So let's read it. On March 11th, 1972, on this day. Okay, shout out to you, Mongo. Shout out on this day in 1972. So I don't know the math on that one. I think that's 28. What's 28 plus 26? I had to do some math on the fly here. That is about 54 years ago. At the NCAA Championships, Dan Gable, one of the most dominant wrestlers in history, entered the final with a staggering 181-0 record before suffering the only loss of his career. So RJ, so what are your thoughts on that? That history lesson. Shout out to Mongo369.
I think that is absolutely awesome. I really like Dan Gable as a wrestler. I watch a lot of his instructional videos, and that record is just insane.
Crazy insane. 181-0, like on any level. On any level, maybe on every sport, in every sport, going 181-0 in any level. It could be the lowest as rec, or it could be the highest pros. Going 181-0, just having that consistency night in, night out, match in, match out, that's just insane. 181-0. So very good history lesson right there, Mongo369. Shout out to you. Keep on going with the support. We got a very good show ahead of us. So please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, and keep on supporting the show. All right, guys. So that is the UFC card right there. Freedom 250 live from the White House. on Sunday, June 14th. It will be in the summer. It will be in the summer. So, I'm pretty sure all you kids, are going to be tuning in because no school the next day on June 15th. No school. So I'm pretty sure you guys are going to be tuning in for this one, for this historic card live from the front lawn of the White House over there in Washington, D.C. Definitely history in the making. All right, so now let's switch gears from MMA to wrestling now. I found this wrestling about WWE. Liv Morgan, who won the 2026 Royal Rumble over there in Saudi Arabia. When you win the Royal Rumble, you guarantee yourself a main event. You guarantee yourself a match at WrestleMania, and WrestleMania will be in Las Vegas this year on April 18th and April 19th. So as of late, they've been doing day 1, day 2. So I don't know if this is going to be day 1, day 2, but this will be live from Vegas. And Liv Morgan, there was a lot of, and a lot of waiting, like who's Liv Morgan to choose? Is it going to be this fighter? Is it going to be this fighter? Is it this wrestler? Is it going to be that wrestler? Well, Liv Morgan made her decision, and it will be Stephanie Vaquer, new wrestler in the scene. Should we find Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship that Stephanie owns? So that will be a great matchup over there in Las Vegas, WrestleMania. So RJ, so what are your thoughts on this one? Liv Morgan, a very popular wrestler who's been in the game for a minute now. She's been there. She's about to compete for a Women's World Championship due to her winning the Royal Rumble. So what are your thoughts on that?
I don't really focus on that kind of wrestling, but I think it would be a fun match.
For sure. So you're about the real wrestling. This is like fake wrestling to you, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. WWE, that's fake wrestling. It's just for show. It's just for show. And then you guys, you guys do real wrestling. So credit to you guys. But this will be in Vegas, WrestleMania. This will be, I believe, on Netflix internationally, and then it will be on the ESPN Plus in the United States. It will be on ESPN app, not ESPN Plus, ESPN app. WrestleMania in Las Vegas. All right. Hold on, just one second. Clean my lens here. Yeah. All right. Shout out to my producer, Mama V. She told me that my lens was dirty. Shout out to her. She's the producer. So shout out to her. Okay. Now let's get into a segment that we call Unbelievably Crazy, RJ. So basically, here's this one thing that I saw from last night, basketball. Wizards Heat. Don't worry about the score here, 150-129, high-scoring game. The Heat ended up beating the Wizards. It was a blowout. But the main story here was Bam Adebayo, star player from the Miami Heat. He had a total, RJ, of 83 points in a game. He had 31 points in the first quarter alone. He had 31 points in the first quarter. And RJ, this is history in the making, because you know why?
Why? Because
Bam Adebayo ended up passing Kobe Bryant. He ended up passing Kobe Bryant when Kobe Bryant had 81 points in 2006. So in 2006, he had 81 points. You have Wilt with 100 points. And then now, who would have thought on a random Tuesday in 2026, a guy in the name of Bam Adebayo would get in the middle of Kobe and Wilt, scoring 83 points in a single game. He had 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, and he had 7 3-pointers, which is also a career high. So, RJ, so what are your thoughts on this? Just 83 points, in a basketball game. So basically, you're making everything. You're making every single – well, I don't think he made every single bucket, but, he made most of his shots, and it looked like he couldn't miss. So, RJ, so what are your thoughts on this? Pretty much like crushing performance.
I don't know a lot about basketball, but 83 points sounds like a lot. Considering that he passed Kobe Bryant, that is absolutely insane.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, in your terms, RJ, MMA wise, pretty much you just dominating, pretty much like dominating, pretty much like you by yourself. Like I know it's a one-on-one sport with wrestling, but you just dominated pretty much. That's basically what happened here in this game with Bam. So basically, I'm gonna play 2 clips here. First is how the other team was defending him. it was pretty funny to watch. So here's the clip right here.
With 9.5 minutes left in that game, 93-87. Is there more in store for Bam? Gets it across to Keyshawn Johnson. Toronto.
And as you can see, RJ, they were triple teaming him. That is rare in basketball. A team that's triple teaming you, not a double team, not one-on-one, but a triple team where 3 players are coming at you. So RJ, that is just crazy. So what are your thoughts on that clip alone? You by yourself going up against 3 people. So imagine that in MMA terms, you by yourself going up against like 3 other fighters like at the same time. So pretty much, what are your thoughts pretty much on that?
That'd be extremely difficult.
I know, but Bam was able to get away. Even though he was exhausted in that game, late in the fourth quarter, like I thought he couldn't reach 80 because he was so tired, but he ended up getting 80 because of free throws. So that was the reason why he got 83. So now I'm gonna play the second clip. It's about the LA Lakers, Kobe Bryant's team, his old team, when he played in the NBA. So this was basically the LA fans' reaction to hearing Bam having 83 points. So here is the clip.
A rather melancholy footnote in NBA history occurred. Miami beat Washington 150-129 in that game. Miami forward Bam Adebayo scored 83 points.
It sounded like they were proud, right, RJ?
Yeah. I
No,
think
they were
it
booing.
sounded like they were very impressed.
No, but they were booing though. And the fans were booing because they didn't like that because they didn't like how their guy Kobe just got passed by some guy named Bam Adebayo, who's a very good player, but obviously there's categories, there's level to this, and obviously Kobe, he's up there compared to Bam, who hasn't won a championship yet, and Kobe, he's won multiple championships. So RJ, so what are your thoughts on that clip? The LA fans, Kobe Bryant, used to play for the Lakers, and then their fans obviously, reacting to this, historic event. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think it was a very interesting experience because I figured they would be excited for a new challenge for one of their athletes to beat, but maybe that's just my mentality.
All right. Yeah. So I don't know if this is going to happen again, to be honest with you, because this is a rare event. I don't know if it's going to happen again, but 83 points, that's the that's the record to get past second, because obviously the first is obviously 100 points, which is super difficult. But 83 points for Bam, great night for the Heat, and I guess we'll see. The Heat, they're doing really well in the NBA. We'll see if they can keep it going. All right, RJ, you ready for Q&A?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. So now let's learn about you and your sport, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling. So what inspired you to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling?
I think so. I first started watching ADCCs with my dad, and I thought it was very interesting, and it looked a lot like a puzzle. At the time, I was doing chess, and it looked a lot like chess, more physical. So I thought, if it's a puzzle to solve, I want to try it. So I tried it, and then I branched into wrestling, figuring that it would help out with my takedowns.
Gotcha. All right. So which sport do you like better, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or wrestling?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The way I look at it is Jiu-Jitsu is where wrestling ends, because wrestling stops when someone gets a pin. Jiu-Jitsu starts then, because that's just getting to a position. So I think it's more complex of a sport and a lot harder to master.
Gotcha. All right. So what makes Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling interesting for outside viewers like me, pretty much, like for outside viewers?
I would revert back to John Danaher's mentality. It's like solving a complex math problem with a car parked on your chest. So I think the overall difficultness of that the athletes are going through, I think that makes it appealing to outside viewers.
Gotcha. All right. So So what are your strengths as a combat athlete?
I think some of my strengths are more my knowledge based. I like to look at like strengths and skill in three ways: knowledge, skill, and athleticism. And I try to keep them all balanced, but I like leaning more towards knowledge based because I feel like knowledge is power.
Gotcha. So pretty much you work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yes. Okay. Gotcha. So, what is something that you want to improve on? Yeah.
I would say getting better training partners. I feel like that's one of the things that I'm lacking is training partners, so I can build my skill.
So do you have training partners like right now?
Yes, but it's hard because once I get to these higher levels, it's very hard to work with lower level people. So I feel like I need more higher level training partners.
So pretty much you're too good for them.
I wouldn't say that much, but I need people that are gonna make me work very hard.
Gotcha. All right. So pretty much you want people that are gonna be like competitive, like competitive to you, pretty much.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Yes. Iron sharpens iron. Definitely that is definitely a phrase that can be used in any sport. And especially for your sport, iron sharpens iron. Definitely very useful. So for people that are not used to combat sports, what is a G and do you use it?
The gi, I don't like using it, and it's kind of like a jacket. It's like a big jacket. The way I refer to it is a death coat because it's really hot when you get put in it, and yeah. I really don't prefer wearing the gi. I prefer a lot of no gi because it works for both wrestling and jiu-jitsu.
Gotcha. All right. All right. So have you competed with anybody older than you? And if no, do you plan on doing that in the future?
Yes, I have competed against people a lot older than me. When I was 9, I competed against 13-year-olds, both in a super fight and in like several bracketed tournaments.
Gotcha. All right. So what do you do to mentally prepare for a match?
I have a mental coach. I have a mental coach, Josh, and we do a lot of sports psychology and stuff like that. We are kind of like breathing and like I prefer 4-7-8 breathing, and I think that helps calm me down a lot.
What's the 4-7-8 breathing?
Breathing in for 4 seconds, holding for 7 seconds, and exhaling for 8 seconds.
All right. I might try that one of these days. The thing's called 4-7-8, right? So pretty much you breathe in for 4 seconds, and then
Hold for
you
7 seconds.
hold, and then exhale.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I definitely might try that one of these days. I might try that.
One of the main things that you want to think about for it is you want to exhale at least, or preferably twice as long as you inhaled for.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try that. A shout out to you, RJ. And speaking about shout outs, you can give as many shout outs as you want, to coaches, family, friends, people that you know. So pretty much, if you see them in the chat or their name pops up, when we're talking about them, just give them a shout out. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So what is your favorite moment so far while doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling?
I would say the bonds and friendships that I've made throughout it, because in a contact sport, jiu-jitsu and wrestling, you can go into a match and have them as your opponent and come out of the match as them being your friend. And I just really like how you can make strong connections and bonds with the people that you work with and the people that you train with.
For sure. Most definitely. So what is your training / practice schedule like during the week?
So I watch from 1 to 2 hours of instructional videos a day. I train for an hour and 30 minutes each day. I do yoga for 30 minutes. And I go to classes. I do 2 to 4 hours of training, and I teach for 30 minutes.
Oh, teach. So you teach for like 30 minutes?
Yeah.
I teach like people like younger than you?
Yeah, I teach kids 7 and under.
Some of that. Got you. Okay. All right. That's cool. So pretty much you do that like every day.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right.
The
Hey,
classes and stuff is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Hey, good job. Athlete and teacher. Hey, I like that. Okay, so who do you idolize your style to? So pretty much which wrestler, which BJJ fighter, like do you recreate your style to?
I'd say John Danaher. I really like his way of explaining stuff and the way that he like the way that he makes it sound.
Gotcha. All right. So if you could meet any sports athlete, it could be in the MMA world, it could be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it could be a wrestler, could be basketball, football, soccer, it could be any sport. Who would it be and why?
I would probably say John Danaher because he's my idol, and I don't know. I think he's very cool.
All right, all right. So besides Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling, what other sport would you like to try and why?
I feel like I really want to try 3-gun shooting, and I'd probably say fencing.
Fencing, okay. Okay, fencing. So that's an Olympic sport, fencing, right?
Yep.
Have you seen like fencing on like YouTube or like a live match or?
Not really. I always liked sword fighting, so.
Got you. All right. Yeah, fencing definitely a very interesting sport. Definitely one of those interesting sports. During the Olympics to watch. Definitely very interesting. So, last question: what are your favorite hobbies/interests to do outside of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling?
I like ATVing and sometimes shooting.
ATV and shooting. Okay. Hi RJ. So that's the Q&A portion. Very good answers. I'm pretty sure the viewers watching, that are not, MMA fans, I'm pretty sure they learned something during this Q&A, and definitely a very informative Q&A, RJ. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, so now let's get into the show and tell. So we're going to start this first portion, which is about you. So pretty much, is there any medals, that you want to showcase to us?
Yeah, I have a couple. So this was the very first medal I ever won. As you can see, jiu-jitsu and wrestling medals, this is the average jiu-jitsu medal. It's extremely large.
Yeah.
This is a 80. This is an 80 cc's medal. 80 cc's is like the pinnacle of grappling. It's kind of like one of the best grappling ones.
Mm-hmm.
On a side note of that, I went to the trials and I took 4th out of a 16-man bracket.
All right. Yeah, good job.
Yep. And this is a national wrestling one.
Ooh, national. Okay. Definitely sounds important, right? National.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have one more. I won the sword.
Ooh, a sword.
The sword from a wrestling tournament. A very good wrestling tournament, and I really like the name of it, King of the Mat. And then I have one more right here, jiu-jitsu ring. It's kind of like a Super Bowl ring looking thing.
Oh yeah, when we interview these athletes, football, basketball, they show their rings, but I don't think I've seen a ring, as big as that. That's definitely like big, and is that heavy too?
Yeah, very. It's about probably 5 pounds.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see it from here. From here, it definitely looks heavy. But hey, good job.
Yep, I have 2 of these rings. 2,
okay, 2 times. All right, RJ. So is that it for the accomplishments?
Yeah.
All right, RJ. Some great stuff. Great stuff. Great medals. Even that big ring. Hey, good job. All right. So now we're gonna do the picture portion. But before we do your picture portion, we did a contest on the podcast for 100th episode, and we had a list, pretty much a whole lot of overlays, and this was the winner right here. He goes by the name of Tate Medina from Texas, football player. So he plays receiver, linebacker, and pretty much he can do pretty much anything on both sides of the ball. So this was his media day for his team down there in Texas. So RJ, so pretty much, how do you like this photo? Pretty much, like, how would you like rate it?
I like the skeleton gloves and I like the black backsplash.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Very, very good. It definitely looks like a very good picture, and that was the picture that won it. So obviously, we voted on it, and that was the one that won. So shout out to Tate Medina down there in Texas. All right, RJ. So now we're going to show these other pictures that we got after our 100th episode, and pretty much you're just going to rate it 1 out of 10. All right. All right. So now here's this first one. This is Landon Avery, football player. This was him winning a trophy. So RJ, so how do you rate this 1 out of 10?
I really like the size of the trophy. It looks extremely cool. I'd say a 5.
A 5, okay. Why a 5?
I don't like how they didn't clear the background of a bunch of people walking around. And I think they could have done the lighting a little bit better.
Gotcha. All right. So now here's this second one. This is I forgot his name. Shoot. Well, and I always forget his name, but he's a basketball player, very well known on this podcast. So this was his picture for a Carter Penn. There you go, Carter Penn. That's his name. This was him at a showcase for basketball, and this is his picture. So RJ, so how would you rate this 1 out of 10?
I'd probably rate it a 7.
A 7? Okay, so why a 7?
I really like the like his motto thing at the bottom. I don't like the small pictures of him. I that might just be personal, and I don't like how his arm isn't in it. I think it makes it look weird.
Gotcha. All right. I says move on here. This is Parker Floyd. This is his picture for basketball. So RJ, so how would you rate this 1 out of 10?
Ooh, probably 6.
A 6. Okay, so why a 6?
I think it's very cool how he's jumping. I'm not a big fan of how the background's blurred. And the ground looks a little blurred as well. So other than the blur, it being blurred, I think it's very good.
Gotcha. All right. All right, so let's move on to my guy, Tice Hamill, my guy down there in Texas. He's competing for the junior EYBL circuit. He just competed there last weekend with his team down in Houston. Did very good. Shout out to Tice Hamill. This is his picture right here during the game. Shout out to his cameraman, Aiden, for taking this picture right here, for taking 2 great pictures. Here's the first 1 out of 2. So RJ, so how would you rate this 1 out of 10?
I don't think he's posing. I don't think it was a good spot. I'd probably rate it a 4.
4, okay. Yeah, so pretty much, so pretty much this photo right here is like in game, pretty much. So pretty much, in the game of basketball, the toughest pictures are when you're not posing, and pretty much, this is one of them right here where he's not posing. He's pretty much, in action. He's pointing out his defender and pretty much in action. So pretty much it's like an action play, pretty much. No, you good.
Okay.
You good. So here's the second one right here. This is him playing defense. So RJ, so how would you rate this 1 out of 10?
I'd probably say an 8. I really like how the background's kind of blurred, and I kind of like how the referee's in the background. And I think he's kind of posing, and I think the overall camera shot is very good.
Gotcha. All right. Yep, that is Tice Hamill down in Texas, Houston. Shout out to him and shout out to him and his cameraman Aiden. All right, so now here is Zion Kirkland, football player that we just had as of recent. So RJ, so how do you rate this picture 1 out of 10?
I'd probably rate it a 4.
4. Oh, why 4?
I don't think they should have had the helmet on in that thing. I know what they were going for. I also think he should have smiled a little bit more.
Gotcha. All right. All right, so let's move on to Rockwell Rose. Coach Tony interviewed him back in episode a few episodes ago. So if you guys want to check that out, this is his picture right here. Basically, his photo shoot. With all these rings comparing to Michael Jordan and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, comparing those poses. Basically, Rockwell comparing with those two poses. So RJ, so how would you rate this 1 out of 10?
I'd say an 8. I really like how they're side by side and stuff. If the rings were a little more aligned, I think I would have rated it a little higher.
Gotcha. All right. So now here's a second picture also by Rockwell. So how would you rate this 1 out of 10?
I like it. I think they should have showed his face. I do really like how the gloves in the picture. I'd say a 7.
7. Gotcha. All right. Let's move on. Also Rockwell as well. Yeah. So pretty much RJ, these next, this one and 3 other photos will be about Rockwell. So here's one of them here with his photo shoot, breaking the bat and basically giving the scream while breaking the bat. So RJ, so how would you rate this 1 out of 10?
I really like it. It does look a little artificial. It doesn't look like that he broke the bat. I think they could have done it a little bit better if it looked more splintered. I rated it a 6.
6. Gotcha. All right. So now let's move on to also Rockwell with the fire on the bat. By the end of the bat, you got a fire there. So RJ, so how would you rate this 1 out of 10?
I really like it. I like how the fire is there. I would say a 6. I don't like the little light, like white spot in the center of like the everything. I don't know if that was like a reflection of the camera or something, but I just don't really understand what it is.
Yeah, I see that too, and yeah, I agree with you there. That white thing, definitely shows in there, and definitely might affect the photo a little bit. So yeah, good observation, RJ, with that one. All right, so now here's also Rockwell, him pitching, while posing to pitch. And so RJ, so how would you rate this 1 out of 10?
It honestly looks a little AI to me. I like how the backsplash is like the red light in the back.
Yeah.
I'd say 4.
4. By the way, this picture is not AI; it's actually real. So that's actually Rockwell. But that picture definitely right there. I agree. It definitely looks AI because that quality of that picture, definitely looks so good, and the backdrop with that light in the background definitely is what it gives great detail to that one.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome picture.
For sure. All right. So how about this picture, RJ? So how do you rate this 1 out of 10?
I like this one a lot more than the last one. I'd say a 7.
7. Gotcha. All right. So now let's move on to soccer player Sergio Sebastian Restrepo. All right. So now here's his picture right there, repping his country, Colombia. He plays for Orlando City, soccer team down in Florida. Orlando City, they are part of the MLS. He plays for their MLS Academy, which is like he plays for the young kids, basically for the MLS Academy. So yeah, so there's Sergio repping his country and for his photo shoot. So RJ, so how would you rate this 1 out of 10?
I'd say 7.
7.
I think if they had a backsplash, I think it would have been a lot better. I really like how he has the flag draped around his back, though.
Gotcha. All right. So now this is also Sergio getting ready to hit a kick, most likely a penalty kick or a free kick. So RJ, so how would you rate this 1 out of 10?
Ooh, I think it would have looked a little bit better with color, but I see what they were going for, more of like the dark, ominous look. I would say a 7 or an 8.
So 7.5.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So now here's this second picture, also in black and white. This is him about to kick the ball. So RJ, so how would you rate this 1 out of 10?
I actually like this one a lot. I'd say an 8, definitely.
An 8. Okay. Right. Yeah. So that is Sergio. Okay. Yeah. By the way, there's Coach Tony in the chat. By the way, RJ, that is Coach Tony. Told you. Oh my gosh. Okay. Whatever. All right. So this is we interviewed it. Coach Tony interviewed him. Last episode. Isaiah Smith, Coach Tony, right? Is this Isaiah Smith? I don't know. He might clarify that for me in the chat, but I know his first name is Isaiah. So RJ, so how do you rate this picture 1 out of 10?
I really like the picture. I like how he's like mid dribble. I'd say an 8.
An 8, okay. That is an 8. Isaiah Smith, yep, there you go. All right. Now here's the second picture. Pretty much the similar picture. Pretty much similar picture. So RJ, so how do you rate this 1 out of 10?
I'd say probably like an 8 or 8.5.
8.5, all right. So why were you rated 8.5?
I really like this one a lot more than the last one. I like how the ball looks like he's like it's in his hand. I don't know. I think I would have rated it a little higher if the lighting was a little better, but
All right. Yeah, definitely, for sure. All right, so that is Isaiah Smith. You guys can check that out. He was episode 110. He was episode 110. Coach Tony interviewed him for episode 110. So if you guys want to check that out, episode 110. All right, RJ. So now it's time to get into your pictures. Obviously, for these next pictures, you don't have to rate them. Well, you don't have to rate them because obviously it's your pictures, obviously, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna give 10 with every single one of them. So obviously you don't gotta rate these pictures. So basically, when I bring out these pictures, basically give me a little story behind it, like where was this, like what were you doing in this moment, like pretty much what was going on in that picture, pretty much. So I'm gonna bring this first picture out and basically just give me a little story behind it. So here it is, and yeah.
This was at the beginning of a match. This was at Battle at the Capitol, I think. I was like starting up to like start the match. I don't know if the match already started, but I was in my stance and like ready to start attacking.
Ready to start to attack, for sure. All right. So now here's a second picture. All right, so give me a little story behind this one.
I really like this one. This one was my yellow belt test. You can see the gray belt hanging around. If you don't know, it goes gray, yellow, so on and so forth. So this was a very sentimental moment, and I really like this photo. So yeah.
So basically, you got an upgrade pretty much from gray to yellow.
Yeah.
Hey, congrats! Hey, congrats. Yeah, and I, definitely, one of the biggest accomplishments, definitely in your sport, is upgrading that belt, gray to yellow, so on and so forth. And I believe the highest one, RJ, is what, black belt?
Yep.
Yeah, so definitely, everyone's goal is to, get to that black belt. So, yeah, so, hey, getting steps there, from gray to yellow. Hey, now on to the next color, then so on and so forth. Hey, good job for you. Congrats. Who is that person that's right there?
He's my dad and coach.
Oh, dad. Hey, shout out to dad. Shout out. And is dad around so that he can pop his head in?
Yeah, he is. He's coming. It's right here.
Hey, dad, what's up, man?
Hi.
I told him congrats. He went from gray to yellow, and I told him, hey, everyone's goal is the black belt. Hey, definitely taking that first step. To yellow belt. Hey, that's definitely a start right there. So, yeah, and I told him congrats.
Yeah, definitely. Great accomplishment.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so now here's the second picture right here. So give me a little story behind this one.
This was the same tournament. I was setting up a move called a hammerlock. I'm about to pin the kid, so pretty much I get him in a very tight and painful lock, and and you set it on, and you pick him up and put him on their back.
Yeah, from seeing that picture, definitely seeing that picture, it definitely looks painful. Definitely looks very painful, and I feel bad for that person who's getting submitted right there. And Sounds like you put him in a very good hammer lock there, RJ. That looks very painful. Definitely, indeed. All right, so now here's this second picture right here. So give me a little story behind this one.
So this was at the end of a match. I don't know which match this was, but it was pretty much the ref raising my hand and me going to shake the other coach's hand.
All right, for sure. So I'm assuming you won this match?
Yep.
Hey, for sure. Hey, congrats on getting the win. Hey, keep racking them wins whenever we can, in any sport, basketball, MMA, anything. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you've seen RJ, but on the bottom right corner of the chat, so that right there, my co-host, he's basically rating your picture. So basically, we played 3 pictures. Well, we played 4 pictures. He still hasn't rated the 4th one, but he's been rating your stuff with a 9.5, 8.76, and a 20.5. So he's been rating your stuff, RJ. So so Coach Tony's watching this. He's watching this and basically rating your stuff. So shout out to you,
Thank
Coach Tony. All right. So now here's the second picture right here. So give me a little story behind this one.
So this is like right before one of the last ones. This is me continuing to set up the hammerlock. I'm gonna take that hand and put it on top of the kid's hand, and do the same thing that I said last time. And then the 2 people blurred out in the corner was my dad, the one with the one on the left, and then the one on the right is my mental coach Josh.
Gotcha. All right. So is that same picture the same one as this one?
Yeah, that was right before, I think.
Gotcha. So pretty much like different angles, pretty much.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So shout out to your dad. Shout out to your mental coach right there in the background. Shout out to them. All right. So now here's this other picture here. So give me a little story behind this one.
This one was in the start of the second period, I think. I was pretty much like assuring with the ref on like what's happening.
All right. So how does like jiu-jitsu work, like in regards to like periods and stuff? Like how is it like, how does it work like in regards to like periods and stuff?
This actually isn't jiu-jitsu. This is wrestling. Jiu-jitsu is only 3-minute match for kids, and then adults it gets longer. For wrestling, there's 3 periods. If there's a pin in any one of the periods, the match stops. In the first period, they start neutral standing. The second period, the ref flips a coin, and then see the green anklet I have on there?
Yeah.
That means I'm green. So if the coin lands on a green, I get to choose. I'm pretty sure that's what happened here. I chose top.
Mm-hmm.
You get to choose from top, bottom, or neutral. The neutrals is starting back up from standing.
I got you. All right. So now let's move on to your second picture. So give me a little story behind this one.
This one I think is either at the end of the match, walking over to the ref, or this is at the beginning of the match, walking over to check into the table.
Checking into the table. All right. I see on your sleeve there your the name of your team. So do you want to give a little shout out to your team there?
Yeah. Shout out to Bigfoot Brawlers and Grapple for Growth nonprofit.
Gotcha. Shout out to y'all. You're doing a very great thing. Good job. All right. So now here's the second picture right here. So give me a little story behind this one.
I think this is the end of the match. My rash guard's all messed up, and then my helmet is like off-centered. I think I like how it's like more messed up and more like live looking.
Gotcha. All right. So let's move on to your next clip here. So, give me a little story behind this one.
This one's jiu-jitsu. As you can see, I'm wearing a gi. The gi is the jacket that I have on there.
Yeah.
And the opponent I think is either putting on his anklet thing, or like we're just starting over and I'm waiting for the opponent.
Gotcha. All right. So that was jiu-jitsu, correct?
Yep.
All right. So now, okay. So this is you getting your hand raised by the referee. So give me your story behind this one.
It does look like I had a hard match. And then If I remember correctly, this is the I think this kid's a 106, 106 pounds, and I fought him. I'm pretty sure. I'm not positive though.
I got you. So he was 106 pounds, right?
Yeah.
So so you guys were fighting at a similar weight?
No. I was fighting up a weight class. So because I didn't have anyone in my weight class, so I went up a weight class. Yeah.
Going up in weight
If I
class.
remember correctly, I think I went up an age group as well.
What age group too? Hey, I definitely heard, definitely in boxing, going up in weight classes, definitely something, very difficult. You obviously got to gain weight, and obviously, got to get out of your comfort zone, pretty much of your comfort weight. So how's it like, going up a weight class and playing, competing against kids who are older than you, pretty much?
I think it's very hard, but once you have a good technique and good skill, I think it becomes easier as you go.
Gotcha. All right. Coach Tony just gave you I don't know if I can read it that much right there of all those zeros. Coach Tony, I don't know if you want to put in words, but I cannot, I can't look any closer to see how many zeros are there. So he gave you a whole ton of zeros and the one at the beginning. So Coach Tony, definitely rating your picture very darn high, and you got the win at the end of the day. So there we go. Okay, so here's a picture of here. Hey, that big sword right there that you brought out. King of the Mat.
Yep.
So how was it like? Winning that tournament.
I was really excited. So fun story behind it. I was in 2 brackets. One bracket I took third and got like a small dagger about maybe this big.
Mhm.
That bracket though I paid for myself because I wanted to go in an extra bracket. So I paid for that bracket and I won it.
So you paid for yourself to get in that bracket?
Yep.
So you took a gamble on yourself, pretty much. Get a gamble and playing an extra bracket. Hey, paid off.
Yep.
Got that large sword. Definitely. That is large, RJ. That is like massive. But hey, you deserve it. Hey, high risk, high reward. Remember that.
Yeah.
High risk, high reward. So, hey, good job to you. Congrats. All right, so now let's move on here to. Okay, so give me a little story behind this one.
This one was at the New England's for wrestling. And I don't know if you can tell, but that's my dad right beside me on the left, and my grandfather actually right beside me on the right. So 3 generations right there. The middle, I took 5th at New England's.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Definitely 3 generations right there. You got the younger one with you, the middle generation with your dad, and then obviously the older generation with your grandfather. So, hey, shout out to all 3 of y'all. Shout out to you guys. All right, so now let's move on. We got a little picture here with the group. So, give me a little story behind this one.
This is our team photo. This is like everyone from our team. So you can see in my left hand the little dagger. That's the one I took for 3rd place. And then you have like my whole team around me.
I got you. So, which team was this?
Bigfoot Brawlers.
Bigfoot Brawlers. Okay. So, shout out to you guys, Bigfoot Brawlers, and getting the dub, King of the Mat. All right, so now let's move on here to you with a cowboy. Yeehaw! All right, with that cowboy hat, cowboy jeans. Okay, the inner cowboy in you. All right, RJ. So, all right, so give me a little story behind this one.
This was a tournament that I actually wasn't competing in. This was a tournament that I was mainly coaching. I think I coached 3 adults, and I don't know if there's any kids going on that one, but that was me in the coach's seat and ready to coach an athlete.
Yeah, and it definitely shows like you're coaching. The cowboy hat. It definitely makes you look tough, bro. It definitely makes you look tough. Hey, Coach RJ. Hey, I'm call you Coach RJ. Call you Coach RJ for the rest of the show. Do you mind or no?
No.
I Coach RJ. All right, so give me a little story behind this one.
Oh, this was this tournament that I went to is probably my favorite tournament. This was the first wrestling tournament I ever did. As you can see, I won 2 trophies. Those big papers, those are called bracket papers. In wrestling, when you take first, you get one. Sometimes they're big, sometimes they're small. So yeah.
All right, for sure. All right, yeah, definitely. Definitely keeping that bracket paper. Putting it somewhere in your room. Definitely, big time. All right, congrats to you winning 2 trophies right there. So who's the person on the left side right there?
Oh, that's my mom.
Oh, that's your mom. Hey, shout out to mom. Shout out to your mom and dad in that picture. You got a family picture. Those are always the best. Those family pictures definitely very good. All right, RJ. So give me a little story behind this one.
This one was at a super fight that we went to. So you have me, and my training partner Sam. Got Brock over on the other side, and then Garrett, and then my dad in the center. This was at a super fight. This was actually my super fight that I won. I've had 3 super fights so far.
Super fight. So for outside people like me, so what is like a super fight, pretty much?
So pretty much a tournament that's not a bunch of people. It's only one-on-one bracket. They try to structure it more like almost like MMA matches, where one fight at a time, and like you have the whole crowd watching, like seats around and stuff. I actually did one of my super fights in a boxing ring.
Ooh, in a boxing ring. So how's that like?
It was good. I wasn't really like adjusted to the boxing ring, so like we went towards the rope, and I have never felt that before, so it was very unorthodox. It was a lot of fun though.
Gotcha. All right. So give me a little story behind this one.
This was at one of my classes, so I really don't understand this photo. I think this was just a random took photo.
Yeah, so how old were you in this picture? It definitely didn't look like you were 11 in that picture.
8 maybe, or 9. I think I was 9.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, and I guess your parents were the one that sent the picture to my co-host, Coach Tony, who is talking in the chat. But yeah, all right. Yeah, definitely a fun picture right there. Hey, shout out to the parents. All right, so give me a little story behind this one.
Oh, this was a fun tournament. This tournament was called Battle at the Ball Field. I don't know that kid that was wrestling, but I'm about to turn him over and pin him. The Battle at the Ball Field was a lot of fun. For first place, which I took first, and I got a small but cool baseball bat
Right.
for the reward for first place.
Hey, that's cool. Getting a baseball bat and get rewarded. Hey, first place. Definitely congrats. My co-host, RJ, has a question for you in the chat. Can you read it?
Yeah.
All
What is your favorite submission hold, and can you tap me with it? Oh, my favorite submission hold is probably a triangle. Pretty much you use your legs, wrap it around their neck, and choke them with it. And I think I could probably choke anyone with it as long as I get it locked in. Because even if like someone stands up, and I've actually had several adults stand up, I think I know I could still finish it. So probably wouldn't be the funnest for me after when they drop from passing out, but yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and definitely the result of it, definitely might not be fun. But he's saying himself that like, can you tap him out?
I honestly have no clue like what his level is, so I honestly can't answer that question.
Gotcha. Yeah. So Coach Tony, pretty much he's saying that pretty much you got to show yourself. Pretty much show yourself, and see what skill level you are. Tony, showcase yourself. So, all right. So now here's this picture right here. So, all right. So give me a little backstory behind this one.
This one was at ADCC's. It was like the medal like right here, but this one was at a different one. This one was in New Jersey, and I have Brock from one of the other photos in it as well. He's a very good athlete at this tournament. And there's a fun video on my channel at BJJ with RJ, where you can see he started a fire at the tournament on accident because a person had like a little campfire looking thing to warm up some tea, and they rolled off the mat and crashed into it. So
Ooh.
yeah, he burned his foot.
Definitely doesn't sound good. So what was the name of your channel again that you mentioned?
BJJ with RJ.
BJJ with RJ. So all right, so guys, so when you guys if you guys have time, check it out. BJJ with RJ. And that's on YouTube, right?
Yep, YouTube, Instagram, and YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook.
Gotcha. Mongo369 has a question for you in the chat.
I just watched some of his videos. Asked him if he knows what John Danaher's fanny pack. He interviewed pros, asking them funny can be. I really don't know what's in John Danaher's fanny pack. If you don't know, John Danaher has like this. No one knows what's in his fanny pack. I actually interviewed like his student, and he didn't even know. Gordon Ryan, he's extremely famous. I interviewed a bunch of people like that. If I had to guess, some fingers and a knife, or like 3 knives.
All right. Guess we'll don't know. I guess we will never know what's in that fanny pack. So you interview people, I heard, right?
Yep.
So where do you like interview people, like on Instagram, YouTube?
No, I do it in person. There's a bunch of videos on my channel of me doing it. I usually try to interview more famous people, but sometimes I just do it to random people to see what their reaction would be.
Gotcha. My co-host says something in the chat, RJ. So when you get a chance, or maybe I don't know, your parents can do it. Read the thing what my co-host says, so that we can promote your YouTube for other shows. All right.
All right.
All right. Yeah. Because obviously, now I'm hearing that you do interviews on that YouTube channel. Hey, I'm definitely might check that out, and definitely the viewers might want to be interested too. So definitely, do that when you get a chance. All right. So now let's get into your last picture here. So, all right. So give me a little backstory behind this one.
That was actually the same photo that I got this. I was in the sports newspaper for Washington County, Maine, for taking second at nationals.
So you're on the newspaper. That's big time. That's big time, RJ. Hey, congrats getting on the newspaper.
Thank you.
All right. Hi, RJ. That was the photo portion of the show and tell. Hey, very nice show and tell. Very good show and tell with the pictures and stuff. But now let's show your videos. Now let's show people why you're here, why you're elite at what you do. So now we got some pictures here, videos about you. So we got some videos here, and basically we're just gonna showcase them. All right. All right. So now let's start with this first video here. It is 19 seconds long. So here it is. All right, so the thing's on mute. So if you want to do it in real time, if you want to talk in real time, RJ, you can do that.
All right. So that was a cement mixer, or no, yeah, that was a cement mixer, I believe. And the ref is the one laying down right there, and that was the pen.
There you go. Simple pin, submit pin, boom. All right, that's cool. All right, so now let's move on 34 seconds long. So here's the next clip.
Come on, RJ. You're good. Just kind of calling you out.
There we go, RJ. Come on, RJ. Come on, RJ. Good. Get under. Yeah, that looks
Pressure out, down, rotate. Rotate. Keep going.
Yep, keep going. Yeah.
And yeah, that was the jiu-jitsu one.
All right, so give me a little backstory behind that video.
So that was a super fight, like I said. the super fights when the crowd is all behind and watching. They do it all one at a time, and I actually he took me down, and I was in guard, and that's a very hard position to fight out of. But I hit a back take to take the back and strangle him.
Yeah, you definitely did it, and you definitely made him tap out. You definitely made him tap out, and that was the end of the fight. Good job, RJ. So now let's move on to a 21-second clip. Here it is. All right, this was on mute, so if you want to react to it in real time, you can.
Yep. This is the same video as last time. This is just the same thing that happened last time, and it's the same exact pin. Yeah.
All right, so pretty much same, yeah. So pretty much the same as the second clip. All right, that's cool. All right, so now let's move on to the 18-second clip. We have an 18-second clip, so let's watch. All right, so this one's on you as well. So RJ, so give me a little story behind this one.
Yeah. So I hit a judo takedown and took him to the ground, and I secured position and armbarred him. If he didn't tap there or the ref didn't stop it, he would have most certainly broken his arm.
The arm bar. So, all right, so we talked about WWE with Liv Morgan, but there was a certain MMA fighter who participated in WWE. She goes by the name of Ronda Rousey, and she did that arm bar a lot to those WWE wrestlers, and they, Ronda Rousey was doing that, a lot, and made other wrestlers tap out. So yeah, when I think about that arm bar, that arm bar submission, I always think of Ronda Rousey, WWE, Ronda Rousey, great MMA fighter who went from UFC to the WWE, and she did a very great job while at the WWE. All right, so now here's this 26-second clip. All right, so now here it is. All right, so it's also on mute, RJ, so give me a little story behind this one.
All right, so this is one of my nationals tournaments. I'm currently on the. I just hit a swing single and took the back. In this clip, I circled around and yeah. And then in this clip, it's just a bunch of takedowns. It was at my nationals tournament.
All right, RJ. So my co-host has a question for you in the chat.
Okay.
Can you read it?
Have you rolled with your dad yet? Yeah, I actually fight him a lot.
A lot. So who wins those battles?
Most commonly him. Obviously he's not going full power because he's far bigger than me.
Yeah.
So.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, definitely. That son and dad moment. Definitely. Those are crucial. And you'll remember those for the rest of your life, RJ. So cherish those moments. Whenever you can. All right. So now here's this 15-second clip. All right. So here it is. Also on you as well, RJ. So if you want to react to it real time, here it is.
And so this was like a setup where I snapped his head down so he would bring his head up, and then I had a swing single all the way down. This was actually at the tournament. Was at one of my favorite tournaments. The one that had my mom and my dad in the photo and the 2 trophies. That was from that tournament.
Gotcha. All right. All right. So now let's move on to this 36-second clip. 36 seconds. So here it is. It's also on mute. So if you want to react to it real time, you can.
Yep. This is the same back take, just from a different angle. And I hit the same submission, same match, but it's just from a different angle, so you can see the hooks in a little bit more. As you can see, I'm controlling both sides of his legs, so it's extremely difficult for him to get out.
Yeah, and it definitely looks like he's struggling there, and it definitely looks like you're in control right now. And then pretty much in a few seconds from now, there it is. There's the tap out. Yeah. Definitely, he needed to tap out, because if that kept on going, it would not end well. It wouldn't end well. So, all right, RJ. So now we got 2 more clips to showcase. Here's this first one, 31 seconds long. All right, here it is. All right, also on you, so you can do the same thing as the other video.
Yeah. So that kid shot in for a leg. I sprawled back, and then I'm hitting what's called a cow catcher. and and I end up hitting a cement mixer to roll them over, and then finish off with the pin.
Ooh. So you're struggling there, and then you got him by a pin right there?
Yeah, pin.
All right. Gotcha. All right, so now here's this last clip, minute and 6 seconds long. So here it is. So on mute, so you can, commentate.
This was from the trials tournament. This is kind of the best kids from the East Coast, all fighting. I'm the one with the the orangish outfit.
Gotcha.
And I got back into the guard and got it back into guard, and then I'm setting up a submission.
So was that the triangle we saw a little bit there? The triangle?
Yes.
Submission?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's what I have locked up there around his neck and arm. That I would say is my favorite submission. I don't end up finishing with the triangle. I end up finishing with an armbar from the triangle. But yeah.
Definitely very creative, and I'm seeing that the other kid. He's trying to, not trying to break his arm, trying to grab onto it, but get the win at the end of the day, and obviously the sportsmanship right there.
Yeah.
All right.
The kid tapped where the referee couldn't see, so I was kind of like trying to tell the referee that the kid tapped. So. Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah, Coach Tony. So that's the submission that RJ was talking about from the previous question that you asked about. Hold on. Let me bring that. Yeah. What is your favorite submission? And you said the triangle, right, RJ?
Yep.
Yeah. So Coach Tony, that was the submission he was talking about, and I don't know, Tony. Like, how about Uno reverse that question? Like, would you tap out of that? Pretty much Uno reverse card.
No, I feel very confident with my triangle defenses, especially because I'm not going to get tapped out with my favorite move. So.
Oh no, RJ, I was talking about Coach Tony. Like, would Coach Tony tap out of that?
Oh.
No, you good. Yeah, and the reason why I said Uno reverse card is he was asking you, and then with the Uno reverse card back to him, that question could be asked to him. All right, so we got 2 questions here from the chat. All right, so now let's bring this first one out of Coach Tony, so you can read it if you want.
All right, who would win out of you and Kurt Angle?
Kurt Angle, yeah. So he's a WWE wrestler, Olympic wrestler. Yeah.
I really don't like WWE. I don't know what the size difference, but I think I'd be leaning more towards me because of the submission factor of I've been trailing submissions for a very long time.
And also, by the way, Kurt Angle, not only was he in WWE, but he was an Olympic wrestler who won a gold medal for the U.S. So
very nice.
So does that change your mind a bit, or still you?
Yes, that changed my mind. I don't know how what weight class he is in. Considering with the gold medal, I think it would be very difficult. If pound for pound though, I could be very fun to match.
Gotcha. All right, so we got a second question here from Nicole. So here's your question.
What is your favorite position in jiu-jitsu? Ooh, I'd probably say the back. Taking the back.
Mm-hmm. All right, the back position. And yes, Coach Tony just verified for me, yes, he is an Olympic wrestler who won a gold medal for the U.S. All right, RJ, so that was the show and tell. That was the show and tell portion with the pictures, the videos. Definitely very informative, with the Q&A. And then from your accomplishment with the medals, that sword right there, that big sword. And then we saw the pictures of what tournament it was. And then obviously, all the pictures following that. And then those videos, man, hey, definitely very good. You're definitely a very good wrestler in jiu-jitsu. And, I think Coach Tony, he put a reaction in the chat and he said, noted, protect my neck, lol. LOL. Yes, so I'm pretty sure he's going to stay away from you pretty much. I'm pretty sure he's going to stay away from you. So he said noted. He said he tapped out Brock Lesnar, who was also part of the UFC in real life. So Kurt Angle, if he can tap out Brock Lesnar, I don't know, RJ. I'm just saying, because Brock Lesnar is definitely one of those great wrestlers.
Yep.
And Coach Tony said, I have a very good grapple defense. So, hey. Coach Tony trying to put his defense out there. Hey, I don't know. I don't know, something that we might never see, But all right, RJ. So, what is there to do? We got the show and tell. We just did Q&A, show and tell. Now what is there to do? I'm pretty sure we got some time. So do you want to do some trivia?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So what do you want the trivia to be about? Do you want it to be about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling?
Yeah, jiu-jitsu and wrestling. Both of them, I'd say.
All right. Let me see if I can find a trivia thing for BJJ and wrestling. Let me see if I can. All right. Let me see if I can find one here. I don't think it's giving me both. It's giving me one. So,
Okay.
So yeah. So I found one with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So a little quiz here. Yeah, a little quiz here. So, all right. So I'm gonna share my screen. Hold on, gotta get these ads out of the way because we ain't trying to have that. All right. Okay. Coach Tony said, however, he will give me a great challenge. He is okay. So he's talking about you in this comment, RJ.
Okay. However, he will give me a great challenge. He is very skilled and technical grappler. It would be a fun match. I definitely agree.
Yeah, and he was talking about you. So
yeah.
Okay, definitely got definitely some high reward from my co-host Coach Tony. All right. So now we are about set. All right, RJ, I'm about to share my screen right now. Okay, so do you see it?
Yep.
All right, so pretty much, I got a few questions in this quiz. So let's do this. So what does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu primarily focus on? Multiple choice here. Striking techniques, grappling, ground fighting, or weapon training?
Be grappling, ground fighting.
Let's see. And that is right. Grappling and ground fighting. That is correct. Okay, so who are the founding brothers of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
All right. The Gracie brothers.
Gracie brothers. Let's see. It is indeed the Gracie brothers. All right. 2 for 2. All right, so which martial art influenced the creation of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Judo.
Let's see. It is indeed judo. 3 for 3. All right. 3 for 3. Okay, so what is the title given to an instructor of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Be professor.
Professor. It is indeed a professor. Okay, 4 for 4. What color represents the first adult rank in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Blue, but white belt can be used for kids and adults. I'm going to go with A, blue.
Blue. Okay, let's see. The answer is white. It is white. So,
yeah.
So let's see. You were 5 for 6. No, 4 for 5. All right. 4 for 5. Hey, not bad. Not bad so far. Okay, what does Jiu-Jitsu translate to in English?
I'm gonna go with C.
Fluid strength. Okay. The answer is A. The art of softness. All right. 4 for 6. Okay. What is the highest rank achievable in BJJ?
Red. B, red belt.
Red belt. Okay. Is that the answer? That is indeed right. A red belt. All right. So now you are 5 for 7. 5 for 7. Okay. Who is known as the father of modern Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
B. Carlos Gracie.
It is Helio
Oh,
Gracie.
Helio. Yeah.
All right, that's all right. That's all right. Hey, let's move on. Let's move on. During a BJJ match, what's the term used when a person taps to signal submission?
Mm. It's not A. C.
C. It is indeed C. All right. So that's 6 for 9. All right, 6 for 9. What does OS mean, or OSS?
Os. B.
Respect. It is indeed respect. 7 out of 10 during those first 10. RJ doing a very good job right now. All right. All right. Give him the white belt question. Kid knows his stuff. He indeed does. 7 for 10. Hey, that's some nice stuff. I probably would not get a 7 out of 10. I'll probably get 3 out of 10, to be honest with you. But all right, number 11. Here's the question. RJ, which famous family member plays BJJ in the spotlight globally by winning the first UFC?
A. Royce Gracie.
Royce. It is indeed Royce Gracie. Okay, 8 for 11. Which one of these is not a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu position?
Heel hook. Spinning heel hook. Or spinning hook kick.
Spinning hook kick. Yep, there you go. 9 for 12. Okay. Who is the current ADCC Absolute Champion?
C. Gordon Ryan.
It is indeed Gordon Ryan. All right, 10 for 13. All right. All right, RJ, we're in a hot streak. All right, let's keep this going. What is the technique often used to control an opponent when applying an arm bar?
C. S grip.
It is indeed the S grip. All right. We're red hot right now. You're red hot as can be. In which decade did the Gracies open the first BJJ Academy in the USA?
C. 1980s.
It is indeed the 1980s. All right. 12 for 15. We are rolling. What color belt comes after the blue belt in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu adult ranking system?
Purple.
Let's see. Sounds confident. It is indeed purple. It is indeed purple. We are in a hot streak of hot streaks. What is the term commonly used for unbalancing an opponent in BJJ?
Kazushi.
It is indeed Kazushi. All right. 14 for 17. We are red hot. What is the name of the choke performed from the back using the collar of your opponent's uniform?
Bow and arrow.
It is indeed bow and arrow. All right. 15 right so far out of 18. We are doing really good. Which grappling technique aims to immobilize your opponent's hips and legs by placing your legs over theirs?
Half guard.
Oh, full guard. Okay, that's all right. That's all right. Hey, we bounce back. All right, don't worry. Hey, that hot streak was good, but hey, we still got 13 more to go. So, hey, bounce back. Who is credited with originating the first triangle choke technique in BJJ?
A.
It is C. Royce Gracie. All right, don't worry. 15 for 20. 15 for 20. Still good. Very good. What is the name of the movement used to escape from an opponent's side control or mount?
A. Shrimping.
Shrimping. Is that the answer? That is indeed shrimping. All right, 16 for 21. Which famous BJJ practitioner is known as the king of the Kimura? is A. Sakuraba. All right, that's all right. That's all right. Let's move on. What is the term used for BJJ practice of rolling or sparring on the ground with a partner?
Hmm. B.
Let's see. It is A. Randori. All right. Which form of BJJ focused solely on ground submissions without any strikes?
C. Submission grappling.
It is indeed submission grappling. All right. 17 right. All right. What is the most common goal while grappling in a BJJ competition?
B. Forcing the opponent to submit.
It is indeed B. All right. All right, we're cooking now. All right, we're cooking. Let's go. Who is the youngest competitor to win an IBJJF black belt world title?
A. Mikey Musamichi.
It is D, Mr. Mikey. All right.
Fun comment on that. Mikey has won IBJJF 4 times.
4 times.
5 times. Sorry, 5 times.
5 times. It's still a lot. That's big time. Winning 5 times. Beautiful. Big time. What is the name of the technique where you hold your opponent's wrist and open your elbows wide to break their posture?
C.
It is B.
Collar tie?
Oh no, from here. It is collar tie. All right. Which Gracie brother is widely known as the master of escapes?
C. Royce Gracie.
Okay, we're going with Royce. Relson Gracie. All right. Which technique is used to flip or reverse a standing opponent using leverage?
C. Yoko Tomonagi.
It is indeed Yoko Tomonagi. All right. All right, we got a few questions left. Just past the 20 mark with the answers. What is the name of the BJJ organization that hosts competitions globally and enforces standardized rules for the sport?
IBJJFB.
IBJJF. Yeah, IBJJF. Yep, there we go. And if I was doing this, I would have put UFC, to be honest. But, hey, you're the BJJ guy, RJ, so obviously, you got the right answer. Which of the following martial arts is not considered a cousin to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
C.
Taekwondo. It is indeed Taekwondo. All right. We got a few questions left. All right. What is the name of the defensive position in BJJ where you tuck your elbows and knees close to your body while on your back?
A. Turtle guard. Turtle. Wait, what? Wait. C. T-Rex position.
It is indeed C. Yeah, a very good job changing your answer because, you said turtle guard, then you thought about it, then you said C. Good job indeed. All right. I think this is the last question. It is indeed. All right. Which Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competition format allows strikes to the face on the ground but not while standing?
A. Combat Jiu-Jitsu.
It is indeed combat jiu-jitsu. All right, RJ. That was the trivia. 33 questions. Doing better than what I would have done. Hey, same here. If I was doing this, I probably, and I told RJ, during the first 10 questions, I probably would have got a 3 out of 10. And I probably would have got less than a 50. But so let's see. You had a 24 out of 33 from the scores. that I tallied. So that means that's about a 73%. So that's a passing grade. That's passing. That's a passing grade. And yeah, so RJ, so let's just say you passed the trivia. That counts as passing. So all right, RJ. So how much time we got left? All right, RJ. So all right, so give your final shout outs and your what are you doing next pretty much in your BJJ journey.
Let's see. Next, I'm going back to New England to compete back there. Other than that, for shout outs, I'd like to give a shout out to Gio Bella for being one of my best training partners in my journey, and a big shout out to Lila Adams for being my best friend.
For sure. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to the audience for watching tonight. Very great show. Very great show. RJ. All right, so now all right, let's do the spiel. All right, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon on YouTube. We are here live on YouTube, so please make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you get notified when we go live. Should be scrolling down at the ticker just left. At Be Ready Sports Podcast on Instagram. That is where we post sports news, podcast clips, anything related within the podcast will be on the Instagram account. So please make sure to follow our Instagram account, sports news, podcast clips, anything podcast related, and here live on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you get notified of when we go live. This is Theron West II's clothing line, silentfear.online. You guys can check out his clothing line, and you guys can also check out his episode. I don't remember his episode on top of my head, but I remember it was before the 100th episode. So you guys can check out the archives on YouTube. Search up Theron West II, Be Ready Sports Podcast, and it should pop up. So silentfear.online for Theron West II from California. Donate to Zelle, not Cash App, 954-664-8962. That is where you can donate to the show. All proceeds of the show will go towards the show to upgrade it and make it better. So donate to Zelle, 954-664-8962. Sean from Pickup Portal was just here in January to talk about his business. Basically, if you're a coach that needs some players for the weekend, you're down some players for the weekend, coach can just go into the Pickup Portal, pick up the players that he needs for the weekend to replace those players. And if you're a player that wants to play in that weekend, you can put yourself in the portal and get connected with a coach so that you can play that weekend. They are live right now doing, oh my God, they're live doing baseball, softball, and basketball. I believe those are the sports. Coach Tony, you can clarify that, please, in the chat. If those are the sports, baseball, softball, and basketball. I believe those are the sports, and then later on he will do other sports as well. So pickupportal.com. Subscribe to Kaysen Velez, the first soccer player that we had on this show. Coach Tony interviewed him back in episode 4 OG. So please make sure to subscribe to his YouTube channel, Kaysen Velez, one of our former guests. Subscribe to Remy Payne on YouTube at Remy Game Football 5250. First athlete actor that we had on the show, former guest of ours. And last but not least, subscribe to Rockwell's Journey on YouTube. Past guest of ours, not too long ago, just recent, Rockwell Journey on YouTube. And also, before we go, RJ, what is your YouTube channel so that you can promote it?
At BJJ with RJ, and I'm on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook.
All right, there you go, guys. BJJ with RJ on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And yes, I saw the notification, RJ, from your parents. They sent the link. So on the next show, Coach Tony will work on that, on the banners, and your name we will promote your YouTube channel on the show every time we do the spiel. So
Thank you.
Yep. So we'll promote your YouTube channel just like how the other guests are. All right. Last but not least, we're gonna promote our show that just we just aired our first episode with the Lambo and Cash show. By the way, RJ, my co-host, said that you should definitely meet Cash, and I think you should. Cash, he's also into combat athlete. He's a combat athlete. He also does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well. So yeah. So he's on the Lambo and Cash show. So yeah, Coach Tony wants you to meet Cash, and if you want to see what he looks like, you can tune into the Lambo and Cash show for episode 1. Episode 1, which is airing live on the YouTube right now, is on YouTube at Lambo and Cash show on YouTube. It's a kids talk show about sports. So that is a Lambo and Cash show. All right, RJ. All right, let's sign off. 3, 2, 1. To be ready.
Stay ready.
And we out, guys. We'll see you on the next show. We'll see you guys on the next show. All right. RJ, please make sure to stay after the show so that we can do the wrap up. Okay, RJ? So please stay still. All right. All right, guys. We'll see you guys on the next show. All right.